Lil Durk was really out there acting like a mafia boss, forcing the feds to use methods that have been used to bring down mafia families. Authorities have Durk on tape admitting to murders, and it's not just the murder of Quando, Rondo's cousin. He also ordered the death of an informant's baby mama while flying in a private plane with Merck, who killed his brother.
Is dead, right?
Okay, well,
How the is these paying for a jet?
It looks like Lil Durk is going to sell out as an OTF snitch. If there's one thing he's said many times in interviews, it's that he hates leaked information.
All reps. If you ever told, you ever tell, I hate you, like with a passion. I really hate reps with real passions. Like, I hate you bad. I'm looking to the camera. I hate rep.
What's crazy is that Durk might be in cuffs because one of his men told on him. According to court documents, a dude named OTF Jam, who is a trusted member of the crew, played a crucial role in the investigation that brought down Lil Durk. It turns out that this dude had been released from prison in 2022 after serving 12 years for attempted murder. Apparently, he was an informant who had been cooperating with authorities for years. The craziest part about all this is that he wore a wire while around Lil Durk and other OTF gang members, which provided intel to the feds, a betrayal that no one saw coming, not even Durkio, according to the indictment. Jam's recordings and the information he provided were key in linking Durk to the now infamous murder for the high plot that almost took out Quando. Rondo, if you understand OTF Jam's relationship with Durk, then his involvement in ratting out the OTF boss will shock you, and his secret recordings, which have formed the backbone of the case against Durk, will start to look like the worst case of backstabbing in hip-hop history. Jam, a longtime member of OTF, was considered a brother by Lil Durk during Jam's 12-year incarceration for attempted murder. Durk stood by him, providing financial support and ensuring that Jam's needs were met. This included covering legal fees, purchasing a house car, and gifting him more than $50,000 in cash.
50, bro. You know what I'm saying?
facts.
Fact?
More than that. More than that.
But so, can you tell us how much he gave you, or you don't want to even?
No, we ain't gotta give him all that, but bro made sure he made a way for me to be straight, like.
But that wasn't enough. Durk also took care of OTF Jam while he was in jail. So why would someone be so cocky as to hurt their friend?
Durk comes through with him.
That's sure. I don't give a nobody say, like, sure. I know I'm the real witness. Like,
a lot of niggas can't say he ain't seen checks.
My life, my whole time, yeah, I was straight.
It turns out Durk may have been involved in the death of his baby mama, according to reports. Lil Durk found out that Jam had been wearing a wire all along, determined to get his revenge. Durk knew that getting an FBI informant, Merck, could bring him unwanted attention from the feds, so he went after his child's mother, Octavia Redmond, and on a seemingly ordinary day in the West Pullman neighborhood of Chicago, the life of a beloved postal worker. Octavia Redmond was tragically cut short on the 19th of July 2024 at approximately noon. Octavia was in front of a Chicago home preparing to deliver mail when a stolen SUV pulled up nearby. The vehicle, later identified as the getaway car, was driven by a 15-year-old suspect. The suspect exited the SUV and approached Octavia with a chilling intent. Without warning, he shot her multiple times at close range, leaving her critically injured on the ground. The suspect, meanwhile, fled the scene in the stolen SUV. The 48-year-old woman was taken to Christ Hospital in critical condition, where she was later pronounced dead at the hospital in the immediate aftermath of the shooting. The Chicago Police Department launched an intensive investigation to track down the suspect. The U.S. Postal Inspection Service also became involved, offering a substantial reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible. They took to their account, where they announced a $250,000 prize for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the suspect responsible for the homicide. As the investigation unfolded, authorities utilized footage from police and private cameras to trace the suspect's movements before and after the shooting. The stolen SUV was identified, and an anonymous tip provided crucial information that helped identify the suspect. Months passed as investigators worked tirelessly to bring the perpetrator to justice. The breakthrough came when the suspect was located in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and arrested on a murder warrant despite Durk's loyalty to his homie. Jam decided to become what the Chicago rapper hates the most, a rat. But having his baby's mother killed didn't solve anything. The damage was already done. So what exactly did OTF Jam reveal to the cops that might see Durk get the death penalty? Well, OTF Jam's revelations to the cops started with the tragic events of November 6, 2020. That night, King Vauduro's best friend was killed outside in an Atlanta nightclub. The altercation began as a physical fight between Vau and Quando Rondo, escalating into gunfire when a member of Rondo's entourage allegedly shot Vaughn multiple times, resulting in his death. CCTV footage showed V approaching fellow rapper Quando, Rondo, and punching him to the ground. V's guys joined in and started beating the brakes off Quando as he tried in vain to get away from his attackers. As the assault went on, one of QU's homeboy, who was later identified as Lil Tim, appeared from behind their vehicle with a gun in hand and started letting off shots as everyone ran away. V was hit on his torso. He would later die from his gunshot wounds while in hospital during surgery. For Lil Durk, the death of his friend was not only a personal tragedy, but also a catalyst for further animosity towards Quando Rondo. Rumors began to circulate that Durk had placed a bounty on Rondo's head, fueling speculation and fear. Within the industry, court documents show that OTF Jam told cops that after V's death, Durk used coded language to tell OTF members that he would pay a bounty to anyone who would take part in killing. Quando Rondo. Durk's cousin DeAndre Wilson also told OTF members that anyone who took part in the murder would be rewarded with lucrative music opportunities with OTF, which was also a music label. In August 2022. Lil Durk's associates allegedly learned that Quando Rondo was staying at a hotel in Los Angeles, and plans to MK Quando were set in motion by Lil Durk's associates. DeAndre Wilson, Keith Jones, David Lindsay, and ASA Houston traveled from Chicago to San Diego and then drove to Los Angeles, allegedly using funds provided by Durk himself. The group was determined to carry out their mission with precision and stealth, avoiding any direct links to Durk by following his alleged instructions to avoid booking flights under names associated with him. The feds reveal that they obtained information from Durk's iCloud, where he warned them not to book anything in his name. However, despite the warning, they still went ahead and booked the flights using a credit card linked to Lil Durk and OTF. Upon their arrival, the OTF members met with Keon Grant, a top associate who had flown to Los Angeles on a private jet. Grant played a crucial role in facilitating the operation, securing hotel accommodations for the group, purchasing ski masks, and obtaining 2 luxury sedans to be used in the ambush, according to court records. Grant also provided Jones Lindsay and an unidentified third member with firearms, including one that had been converted into a machine gun, further escalating the potential for violence. As the day unfolded, the group allegedly began tracking Quando Rondo and his associate Robinson as they traveled around Los Angeles in a Cadillac Escalade. Their journey took them to various locations, including a marijuana dispensary and a clothing store in West Hollywood. Detention was palpable as the suspects followed their targets, waiting for the opportune moment. To strike the climax of the day's events occurred at a gas station across from the Beverly Center, a bustling area in the heart of Los Angeles. Here, ASA Houston allegedly parked his car strategically behind the station, setting the stage for the ambush. As Quando Rondo and Robinson stopped at the gas station, Jones Lindsay and the third unidentified man reportedly exited their vehicle, armed and ready to execute their plan. The suspects opened fire, unleashing a hail of bullets in an attempt to kill Rondo. Tragically, El Poab Q's cousin, who was standing outside the Escalade, was struck and killed in the gunfire, while Rondo miraculously escaped unharmed. The scene was one of chaos and terror, as bystanders scrambled for safety and the suspects fled the scene. Afterwards, the suspects regrouped at an In-N-Out hamburger stand, where they allegedly discussed payment with Con Grant. The group then made their way back to Chicago, flying from San Diego as authorities began piecing together the details of the brazen attack. Word on the streets is that these two murders aren't the only ones that Durk has paid for, from his brother's killer to an OP who disrespected Von's mural. Durk has been moving reckless for a while. Murder's Lil Durk has paid for the earliest murder. For hire plot that Durk has been caught up in involves the murder of his brother. The story starts with the death of Lil Durk's brother D on June 7, 2021. On a Sunday morning outside a strip club in South suburban Harvey, shots were fired and Dang was shot in the head. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Word on the street was that a dude named Stefan Ma was responsible for Dang's death. So Lil Durk put a bounty on his head, and on January 7, 2022, Mac was gunned down at the Youth Peace Center of Rosand, located at 420 West 111th Street in Chicago. Soon, two men, Anthony Montgomery Wilson and Preston Powell, were indicted with murder for hire. The events leading up to Mac's murder were meticulously planned. Montgomery Wilson and Powell, along with other unidentified accomplices, allegedly conspired to execute Mac in exchange for money. The plot involved the use of a cell phone and a 2014 Chrysler 300, which were deemed facilities of interstate commerce by prosecutors. As Mac exited the Youth Peace Center, a gunman emerged from a vehicle and opened fire, leaving him fatally wounded. A security guard was also injured in the attack, but survived. The indictment, initially kept under seal, was made public, revealing the gravity of the accusations against the two men. Montgomery Wilson and Powell were charged with conspiracy to use an interstate facility in the commission of a murder. For hire, additionally, Montgomery Wilson faced an individual murder for a hire count and a gun charge as the legal proceedings unfolded. Montgomery Wilson found himself in custody facing the full weight of the charges against him during his arraignment. Montgomery Wilson pleaded not guilty, setting the stage for a potentially lengthy and contentious trial. His defense team is expected to challenge the evidence presented by the prosecution, which includes photos from the U.S. Attorney's Office allegedly showing him pursuing the victim with a firearm. Meanwhile, Preston Powell remains a fugitive, with law enforcement agencies actively seeking his arrest. The most high-profile murder that Durk is alleged to have paid for is that of FBG Duck. When Duck's killers were arrested back in 2021, word got out that V had put a $100K bounty on his head. It turns out there was a rat in Oblak working with the feds who revealed that the one who paid for the hit rewarded the killers with custom-made Oblak chains. A video surfaced on YouTube of King Von giving Oblak members custom-made chains. But according to sources in Chicago, it was actually Durk who put the hit on Duck and paid the killers. I don't think Von paid those guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell the world to know who actually paid the Oblak gang members to kill FBG Duck. FBG Butter revealed that you have to look at the suspect's arrest footage. It turns out Muop and C Murder weren't arrested in Oblak.
I don't think Von paid them guys. I'm sorry to tell the world.
To know who actually paid the Oblak gang members to kill FBG Duck, FBG Butter revealed that you have to look at the suspect's arrest footage. It turns out Muop and C Murder weren't arrested in Oblak.
Everybody arrest video coming out from when they got arrested for this Duck case.
Yeah.
They ain't show Muop shit. Or C Murder's happy. Have y'all saw Muop and C Murder go to jail on camera yet? Because everybody else involved in that case, arrest footage.
It turns out that they were caught at a private hangar, which is strange because no normal Oblak gang member could afford to charter a private plane. The boys were taken at the airport on a private hangar. What's interesting is that V was already dead when they were caught, which means that someone with that much money could fly out to Mapo and see Murder on a private jet, Lil Durk.
Them boys got snatched at the airport on a private hangar.
Durk is also suspected of ordering the death of one of Duck's closest homies, FBG Cash, for disrespecting Von's mural. When King Von was killed, Cash decided to take a photo next to the mural showing his middle finger. However, instead of having kind words for the deceased rapper, he captioned the post saying the whole world witnessed why Maine sniper get his splack. This stunt did not go down well with V's guys and especially with V's best friend, Lil Durk. Lil Durk decided to stick up for Von by warning Cash in his song Computer Murderers, where he raps sneaking pics by Von Morale, like Lil Bro Won't Come, Out and Spin, seemingly enjoying the attention Cash would use Durk's beat on Computer Murderers and continue new dissing. King Von singing Vow got his ass clapped. You had us thinking he was stretched Cash and even started trolling his ops in interviews. In one interview, he was asked about his infamous stunt at King Von's mural. He responded by saying that Lil Durk had told him to do it.
At some point, you take the picture in front of O-Block, in front of the King Von mural. So what was going on with all that?
Durk told me to do that.
Durk told you to do that?
It was only a matter of time before his ops would catch up with him, and a warning from Durk on social media gave a clue as to what would happen next. Durk had taken to Instagram to warn him, "Don't do this thing if you're lingering," and chasing who won't end well. That's what the Instagram story read, and according to some of his friends, he was set up by a female.
At like 5 o'clock that morning, you was loose as hell. You trying to ride around with in a rack. Come on, bro. Ain't no doing that, cuz. You know better. Like, these.
On the 9th of June 2022, Cash was picked up by a female friend and headed for a nightclub. After the club, the rapper took her to a friend's house to sleep with her. At around 5 in the morning, Cash drove the car home with the girl in the back seat. According to her, she was tired and wanted to sleep. A few minutes later, Cash stopped at the stop sign on the 1600 block of West 81st when a car cut them off. 3 men jumped out and opened fire. Cash exited the vehicle as he shot back. However, he was soon overpowered. Cash was later taken to Christ Hospital in Oak Lawn, where he succumbed to his injuries, according to reports, a few weeks before the tragic incident that claimed his life. FBG Cash was involved in a shooting in which he even suspected that the female he was with had set him up. Luckily, only his arm was grazed by a bullet, and he lived to tell the tale.
I was like, damn. Like the bullet had ripped all my jacket. Like, I'm like.
That morning, Cash had just left the studio and gone to the woman's house. At around 4:20 in the morning, a guy started blowing up her phone. According to Cash, it was the girl's boyfriend. The woman then told Cash that her boyfriend had the house keys, meaning he could show up at any moment, so the duo decided to leave the house. They jumped into the woman's car and drove off with Cash in the passenger seat. The rapper did one thing that saved his life that night. He reclined his seat and lay on his back while on his phone. On the way home, they stopped at a red light as a vehicle pulled behind them, according to Cash. The woman told him that it was a cop the rapper peeped, but he couldn't see clearly, so he went back to his phone. Suddenly, the rear windshield was broken by a hail of bullets. Luckily, he was not in the line of fire. Immediately, the woman sped off before anyone could get shot. People around Cash warned him about being around the woman, as she was an Instagram model, and they had only gone out 3 times before the incident. According to them, she may have set up the rap.
At 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
And who would know where I was at?
Exactly.
Like, fuck, I wasn't, like, you
know her car.
You can't see in my car. And then fucking, it's not like I was sitting straight up in her car. And then, like, if she did set me up, like, she did it with the wrong people because they didn't.
While Durk has clearly been implicated in several murders for hire plots, there are multiple rappers who've been caught up in similar charges, including one of Durk's industry best friends, King Von, a rapper who paid for murder. First on the list is one of Durk's best friends in the industry. Young Thug. In May 2022, Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis unveiled a shocking 56-count indictment accusing Young Thug and 27 other alleged members of YSL of running a violent Atlanta street gang, according to the prosecution. YSL was not just a record label, but a dangerous criminal enterprise known as Young Slime Life, affiliated with the National Bloods gang. The indictment detailed a decade-long reign of terror centered around the Cleveland Avenue area of Atlanta. Prosecutors alleged that YSL members were responsible for a wide range of criminal activities, including murder, assault, robbery, theft, illegal gun possession, and drug sales. At the heart of the indictment was the claim that Young Thug was the clear leader of the organization. One of the most shocking allegations in the indictment centered around the 2015 killing of Donovan Thomas Jr., commonly known as Big Nut, a rival gang member. Prosecutors claimed that young Thug had rented the car used in the murder, while 5 other YSL members were directly charged with the killing as the trial progresses. The rap world is eager to see whether Big Nut's murder will be pinned on Thug. But Thug isn't the only one of Durk's rapper friends to have their ops murked, because it seems like Young and Ace also did. Ace was friends with both Lil Durk and Quando Rondo before the beef started, and it turns out he may have planned and financed the murder of his fiercest rival, Fulio. According to Fulio's mom, her son's death was a paid hit.
Fulio's mom, her son's death was a paid hit.
Do you think it was a paid hit?